Good evening and welcome back to Dialogue with Leadership on 30 at 6. I'm here with Dr. Alan McCarthy. Welcome back. Oh, right, we're fist bumping.
That's right, fist bumping.
Yeah, well that
Hi,
leads
Jean.
me into my first question, but
Okay.
first, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Good. So now that coronavirus has, hence the fist bump, has arrived in the United States, and it seems like the threat of pandemic is on everyone's minds. Public health experts are emphasizing the critical importance of the public getting clear and consistent messaging from state and local and federal agencies. And that's important because obviously folks need accurate information in order to prepare, but also because inconsistent messaging can cause people to lose faith in the
Lots
government's
of confusion.
efforts.
You're absolutely right.
What can we expect from Cecil County in terms of outreach and preparation?
We had a informational seminar today, which included the health department as well as emergency services. They gave us the directives and guidelines, which have come down from a high, the federal government. And basically right now it pertains to following good hygienic principles. For example, cleaning your work area, because the virus can live on the surface of an object for probably about 10 hours. And also basically making sure that you cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. Don't basically rub your eyes and your nose, because that's easier entries for the virus particles to get into your own body. And if you basically have malice, a fever, diarrhea in many cases, you should basically seek the advice of a doctor. Right now we don't anticipate a huge problem right now, but it is certainly starting to spread. It seems to be waning to some degree in China.
Yeah.
But it's starting to take a hold here in the United States, and basically we'll just have to keep an eye and monitor the situation as it develops.
Right. Yeah, and we've reached out to the health department, so we hope to get some people in here to talk about.
You're absolutely right. And what Cecil County has done is they're basically acquiring or getting together the necessary supplies like masks and gloves and things of that nature, disinfectant products to basically use on surfaces, and also to basically disinfect hands.
Right.
So if you follow the normal principles, wash your hands, frequently with soap and water for 15 or 20 seconds, basically you'll have a much better chance of not getting the disease.
Yeah. And I think it's important to follow those sorts of,
Guidelines
it's always
all the
important to
time,
wash your hands,
yes.
but important to take precaution, especially this time of year because of the flu. So I think people should just...
Like if you go inside doors, wash your hands after touching doorknobs, or basically use a Kleenex, something to that effect.
Right.
To basically give yourself somewhat of a barrier from that in contact of a surface, which might have, basically saliva on it, or, sneeze material, stuff like that.
Yeah. Local objections to development projects pop up now and then. We're seeing that with organizers in Perryville in response to the warehouses being built at the site of Perryville Outlets. Also, some unhappiness about Granite Cliffs in Port Deposit. Can you talk about the distinction between county and town projects and
Well, very simply, the state of Maryland is divided into 23 counties and one municipality, which is Baltimore City. In Cecil County, we have 9 municipalities, and each one of them have their own government, their own ability to tax. But in many cases, they have their own authorities to do these things. They rely many times on county services for certain things. For example, they rely on our animal control departments. They basically many times rely on our permitting departments and also inspection departments. But they have the authority to basically do whatever they would truly like to do inside their own geographic boundaries. So in that regard, they can almost function as a county, provided they have the necessary utilities to do what they want to do. In the case of Perryville, and I guess you're referring to the old
the Perryville Outlets?
Perryville Outlets, they basically fell in disrepair and essentially are not in very good condition. A couple years ago, they were purchased by a developer with the specific intent of turning it into a warehouse. And at that time, I think the town of Perryville was very much in favor of it, getting it back on the tax rolls. And as it came time to basically do this, Great Wolf Lodge showed up.
Right.
people changed their minds and wanted more high-end development, for example, apartments as well as retail space below. And they took the developer from New Jersey who was buying this piece of property for a warehouse to task, and basically they've ended up in a legal suit.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to develop it. He doesn't want to build townhouses. He does not want to build retail. He wants to build that. And the local residents who took him to court want to see something that's not as overtly commercial as a warehouse.
Right.
They don't want the traffic there or the trucks in and out all day long. And so it'll be resolved in courts, I do believe.
So when these situations arise, do residents have any recourse beyond the town?
Not directly towards the county, I don't believe, unless it's a zoning issue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they have their own zoning authorities, but they many times will come to us asking our opinions. But wherever their zoning is, provided that the business that wants to come in conforms to that zoning, there's really nothing the county can do about it.
Okay. And we were talking briefly about the comprehensive plan, which the county develops every 10 years. It's a 10-year plan. And so how did the towns contribute to that?
Well, when the comprehensive plan was first designed, it was basically designed by the county with the participation from all the towns and not a select group, but a very large group of concerned citizens in Cecil County. And they came up with the plan, and basically it divides the county, I'm going to say, roughly into 3 zones. We have a northern agricultural region, which is not residential, but rural conservation district. We have a growth corridor, which runs between I-95 and Route 40. And then we all have southern agricultural, which is south of the canal. This plan can be adopted and changed, every 10 years for certain, to reflect the needs, concerns, and desires of the citizens of Cecil County. At this particular point in time, I feel it's my obligation as a county executive to abide by what the people choose to have happen, unless the people themselves choose to make it different. So that's where we run into some conflict. Towns many times have their own wants and needs and desires, and if they run into conflict with the county's overall plan, then basically I have to put my foot down.
Okay.
Does that make it clear?
Yeah. The Blueprint for Maryland's Future, which is the name of the bill put forth by the Kirwan Commission, proposes a slew of measures to improve education in Maryland. It includes higher salaries for teachers. It's pre-K for all 3- and 4-year-olds from low-income families, and then also more career and technical resources for impending graduates. Does Cecil stand to benefit from these measures?
I think in the long haul they will benefit from them, because a higher, more better educated group of people will make better decisions, be better citizens in the long haul. So I'm very much in favor of the Kirwan plan. The big problem is how do we pay for the Kirwan plan?
Right. So our viewers know. So the General Assembly last year approved 3 years of funding. It's a 10-year plan, I believe.
That's correct.
So three of the 10 years are the funding is figured out. It's through state dollars. But then the remaining 7 years it's incumbent upon the counties and separate legislation to figure out how they'll be funded. So go on, sorry.
Well, my feeling is without basically a massive increase in real estate taxes or income tax, there's no way that the counties can afford to pay for it. Cecil County, of all the counties, is in fairly good shape because we basically have a very balanced budget. We have some extra reserves, and we have a growing asset base from which to deal with. But some of the other counties are not nearly as strong a position as we are and can no way in the world come up with all the necessary monies to fund their obligations going forward. So my feeling is, at this point in time, the state has a much greater ability to raise taxes than the county, and this is their desire to have the Kirwan plan. So I would suggest that they find a creative way to basically fund this. They're looking at many different ways, taxing of marijuana, basically sports gambling, and also they've introduced, and I don't know specifically about this, but they want to reduce the property sales tax by 1 point and add a 5% fee on every service provided, which would generate a tremendous amount of revenue, but would tremendously hurt many small businesses.
Right. I know that proposal is getting a lot of pushback.
Yes, it is. A lot.
So one more question about that. Do you see, as far as the county's ability to track outcomes and meet the requirements of various proposals in the Kirwan Commission, is being in a rural county, do we have any challenges as far as meeting requirements of the bill?
I don't know if we specifically have any requirements meeting the bill because of our ruralness. We have lots of expenses that a smaller district wouldn't have. If you're more concentrated and you carry more kids on a bus, we have huge bus routes which go many, many distances, cost a lot of money. And also we have a very, very high percentage of basically special needs children. I think the second highest in the state of Maryland. So that costs a lot of money too.
Okay, well.
This is going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Governor Hogan has promised that he would veto the bill if passed as it is intact.
Though
I suspect there will be some changes. I think that the Democrats have enough votes to basically override the veto.
His veto, yeah.
So the proof will be in the pudding. I think there will be significant changes to the bill as it moves forward. I think people realize all the things we've talked about. And as it presently stands, I don't think it's really affordable to most of the counties in the state of Maryland as we speak.
Okay. Well, we'll be following it.
Yeah, we will.
Dr. Alan McCarthy, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so very much. The hygienic way.
Yes.